first thing that you have to know about me is I love to read. And ever since I started reading, which was when I was 14 years old, I haven't stopped ever since. And this is one of the best parts of this is the only part of my life that I understand, because most of the time I am absolutely clueless about what I'm doing or what I have to do, where I'm supposed to be, and what I'm supposed to be doing. But when I'm reading, everything is so clear, everything is much more comprehensible, and it's just easy. It's as easy as breathing. So if you're someone who's looking to get into reading or would like to read more, you have come to the right place, my friend, and I'm happy to help you along that journey. So, especially around the time of COVID, my friends would text me and ask me for book recommendations or tell me that it is just so difficult to finish a book. They start reading and then they leave the book halfway through because it's not interesting enough. I guess one of the problems is that people always start reading these self-help books or how to make your life great or how to be a winner, and you get the idea, right? And no offense to the self-help writers or the self-help genre and the people who read self-help books. That's great. If it helps you, good job. But it is very difficult, very, very difficult to get into reading because of a self-help book. I mean, I have met readers. I did a creative writing degree. So let me just say that I have met writers and I have met readers, and not a single of them got into reading because of a self-help book. Because that's just the truth. I'm not trying to make anything up here. That is the fact. So if you want to get into reading, you need to go towards the other area. It could be non-fiction. I'm not saying, let me just separate the two here. Self-help books and non-fiction books. Non-fiction book is basically an umbrella under which the self-help books could fall. But non-fiction is mainly writings or books about things that are not fictitious. They could be philosophy, they could be about n number of things in the world, but they are based on research and studies and lots of academic work. So non-fiction books are good. If that's something that you like, then pick up a non-fiction book, because self-help books are not going to help. That is the irony there. You can start with a non-fiction book, but then again, it is going to be difficult because completing a non-fiction book can take a lot of time, and someone who is not a reader or has not developed the taste for reading might just end up putting that bookmarker after first 2 or 3 chapters and never picking up that book again. So I'm just warning you not to go down that road, and fiction is the thing that will help you become a reader. Trust me on that, because I was someone who used to say that how can someone read when there are no pictures in the books? And now every book that I read rarely has any pictures in them, and I still can't stop myself from reading them. So fiction is the way to go. And another tip that I would add to the fiction category is try to find a book series. What will happen then is a book series is when the same story is continued for 4 to 5 books, or it could be 2 books or 3 books. That is basically when a story is continued in more than one book, a book series. So what happens when you pick up a book series? Why am I saying series? Okay, what happens when you pick up a book series is that if you like the first book, you're definitely going to read the second one and the third one, and if there's a fourth one, then a fourth one as well. So once you're finished with that series, you've already read 4 books, full, from first page to the last page, and that will give you the kind of self-confidence that is needed for you to start or to find another book to read. And that is just how you become a reader. Now, let me warn you, it's going to be difficult to find your second book. I remember when I finished Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, There are 5 books in that series. I went through all of them and then I was like blank. I don't know what to read now. So I tried to find more books in the Greek mythology genre because that was what I loved in the Percy Jackson series. And then I shifted to Indian mythology, and then from there to different genres. I tried different kind of books, different kind of writers, and here I am with a writing degree and a YouTube channel where I talk about books. So fiction will help and a book series will help. So what I have today for you is the first book of a new series that I've just started reading. This is by one of the writers that I absolutely fell in love with last year after I had just graduated and I was looking for a good book to read. I had been seeing the name of that book over Instagram and on social media and on Amazon recommendations, but I was not very sure if I would love that book. So I was kind of wary of like actually buying that book because, as you know, books are expensive, so you just don't whimsically order a book. And if you're not earning, you've got to explain your choices to your family. So you need to be prepared. You need to understand what the book is about, and you need to be a bit confident that you're going to like the story, because otherwise there's nothing more disappointing than buying a book and then not liking the story. It has happened, but not so much. And if you're very thorough and very meticulous with how you choose books, it is rare. The chances are that you're more likely to be inclined towards books or the kind of stories that you like instead of the kind of stories that you would rather avoid. So this was one book that I was not so sure about. So instead of picking it out for myself, since my father is also a reader, I thought that he might like that book. So I ended up ordering the book for him. But when the book got here, he was busy. He was in office. I was at home. So I was like, well, there's a book there. Why not read it? Because I'm the kind of reader who would read anything with words on it, be it a shampoo label or a newspaper cutting or anything. If it has words on it, I am going to read it. So there was a whole book in front of me, very new, very fresh. So I thought, ugh, let's just go and read this. And my God, I haven't regretted ordering that book ever since. I love that book, and it is one of my favorite books, and it made me fall in love with the writing style of Mr. Fredrik Backman. The book that I fell in love with is A Man Called Ove. It is such a sweet book, such a heartwarming and heartbreaking book at the same time. I mean, it's a book about a grumpy old man. So that is why I was not sure that I would like it, because I don't like grumpy people. But oh my god, Ovi is so much more than grumpy. Like, he is. I mean, there's a line in the book that he has got such a big heart, and that is very true. So, if you're not ready to commit to a whole series, I would recommend reading A Man Called Ove. You will trust me, really trust me on this. It is beautifully written and it tells such a sweet story of community, companionship, and human compassion that if you're someone like me, you will fall for this book. So, to give you a context of what the story is about, I'll just read the blurb and then you can decide on your own if this is the book for you or not. Ovi is almost certainly the grumpiest man you will ever meet. He thinks himself surrounded by idiots, joggers, neighbors who can't reverse a trailer properly, and shop assistants who talk in code. But isn't it rare these days to find such old fashioned clarity of belief and deed? Such unswerving conviction about what the world should be, and a lifelong dedication to making it just so. In the end, you will see there is something about Ove that is quite irresistible. Every word of that blurb is true. And let me just tell you that this book is a Swedish book originally. It has been translated, and it has been translated amazingly. So don't worry about anything being lost in translation. The story will hit you as much in English as it did, I'm sure, in Swedish. So this is the book. If you're not into series and would like to read just one book, read this one, A Man Called Ove by Fredrik Backman. So moving on to my original recommendation for today. By the same author, we have the first book of the series, Beartown. It has two more books. The second book is Us Against You, and the third book is The Winner. I'm going to read both of them. I'm pretty sure about that. So this is a very spoiler-free kind of review. I won't say it's a review, it's more of a recommendation, so it's going to be spoiler-free. I am not going to spoil this book for you because it happened to me. I went online and I was thinking about buying this book for a while, and then I went to Instagram and typed the name of the book, and then there were some posts that kind of revealed a very essential part of the book, and I was like, oh no, what did I do? You know that feeling when you're like flipping through the pages to see just how many pages are left, or like how many pages more to go till this chapter ends, and then your eyes suddenly land on that one piece of information that you were not supposed to find out in the beginning of this chapter. You were meant to read it through to that page and then figure that out, and then you're now just sitting blaming yourself for being so impatient. So that's what happened to me, and I hope that doesn't happen to you. So don't go around typing the Beartown and looking up things about this, because trust me, this book will tell you everything that you need to know to understand the story in its own way and at its own pace, and that is the best way to experience the story that it tells. But the fact that I have still not completed this book, I am, what, two-thirds into the story, almost done. But I couldn't help myself. I thought I had to make a video on this book because this is just too good of a book. This is the kind of book that really hooks you in. You know what I'm talking about? This is the kind of perfect first book that I'm talking about that will really get you into the story, and so much so that you will end up devouring the second and the third book, and you will in no time be searching up more books by Fredrik Backman. And I would not be more happy if Fredrik Backman or this book was the one that got you into reading. Let me just tell you that this book has such a loyal fan following, if you will. It has such a beautiful reader community that adores and loves this book. It inspires so many people. I mean, people have tattoos of lines from this book. And let me tell you, the lines are actually tattoo worthy. I'm not someone who has tattoos or who really likes tattoos, because tattoo is a big commitment and I'm not ready for that sort of commitment yet. But every line in this book really feels like something that could be engraved on, if not on your skin, then on the walls of your bedroom or on a poster, and it would just make sense. So, to brief the book without spoiling it for you, let me just tell you that this is the story about a town called Beartown. It's a hockey town. That means that everything revolves around hockey, ice hockey. It's a town in Sweden, and it's a very, very cold place with a small community. And what you get in this book is a strong sense of community. The best thing that I loved when I was watching reviews for this book is that you don't have to know or understand the sports of hockey to really like this book. Because if you heard a reviewer say, I'm not sure which one it was, but credit to you if it was you, but I heard someone say that if you have ever loved something passionately enough in your life, it could be anything, it could even be books, you will kind of understand what the book is talking about when it talks about hockey. Because it talks about hockey in a way that if you replace hockey with anything, any activity that you love to do, it would still make so much sense. Because the book is basically about human life, humanity, how a community behaves in face of a crisis, taking sides and making decisions, which is the toughest thing to do, like ever. So let me, if that sounds enticing enough, let me just read the blurb to you, and hopefully it will make more sense than I'm making, because I feel like I'm just blabbering, but uh, but excuse me, because it has been like 1 year or so since I last made a video. I think it has been more than 1 year, if I'm being honest. But so that blabbering is just me being out of practice of how to make a video. So just bear with me. And I really wish that you get something out of this video. So let me just read the blurb for you. It says, Beartown is a small town in a large Swedish forest. For most of the year, it is under a thick blanket of snow, experiencing a cold and dark that brings people closer together or pulls them apart. Its isolation means that Beartown has been slowly shrinking with each passing year. But now the town is on the verge of an astonishing revival. A bright new future is just around the corner. Until the day it is all put in jeopardy by a single brutal act. It divides the town into those who think it should be hushed up and forgotten, and those who'll risk the future to see justice done. Can one young man find the courage to speak a truth no one wants to hear? This is The Beartown by Fredrik Backman, the first book of the series. One caution that I would like for you to exercise if you really want to read this book is, let me just tell you that it is not a light-hearted read. It is not something that you pick up on a weekend and just finish it on the weekend and go do your work on Monday without being heavily influenced or affected by this book, because it talks about difficult subjects, things that are difficult to talk about, difficult conversations, and still important and significant topics. I'm not saying that it says things that are not relevant. I'm saying that it will impact you. It talks about important things, and it talks in such a way that kind of changes how you see things, and it changes you and it influences you. It has an effect on you, and once you finish this book, you will finish it a different person than you were when you begin the book. I'm pretty sure of that. I believe that I might just make another discussion video about this book when I'm finished with this book. But for now, I think what I'm trying to do is convince you to pick up this book, because it is a wonderful book and you will not regret reading it. And if you are looking for something like an epic kind of storytelling, something that picks you up from where you are and transports you to a different reality, to a different place, makes you meet different sort of characters, make you understand human nature, human behavior, shows you around, teaches you a lot, becomes your friend, breaks your heart, makes you smile, makes you tear up, makes you cry, gives you goosebumps. This is the kind of book that does all of that and much more. So if you're new to reading and you're looking for another book to read, this is the first book of a series consisting of 3 books. So this is the first one, and this is a book that is hard to put down. I spent the last 2 days reading this book, and I'm so overwhelmed that I had to take a break from the book and make this video to kind of calm myself down, because it is a difficult topic that the book deals about, and being a girl, it feels really personal. It feels very scary. So that is why I'm here. But it is an important thing that should be talked about in more. And the way that Fredrik Backman can get into the characters' heads, understand and explain their thoughts, is something that I live for now. It is something that I absolutely, absolutely admire about his way of writing. His characters feel so real, as if they could exist here in real world. So if you're a fan of good characters, a good story, and if you're looking to escape your present reality, if it's feeling if it has started feeling a bit exhausting every now and then, and if you're very confused about what you're doing or what is happening, and if you want to take a break with a book, this is the book for you. Once again, here I am recommending Fredrik Backman's The Beartown. I don't regret picking it up, and I'm pretty sure you won't either. So let's see where this book goes and how this story ends, because I can't wait to figure it out. And let me know if you've already read it, what you think about it, and let's see. And if this is the first time you've heard of Fredrik Backman and this book, it is my honor to be introducing this masterpiece to you. So here you go, and I really hope you like my video, and I really hope you like this book too. And until next video, which I hope would be a deep dive into the book, because I've been watching a lot of video essays where someone just talks and talks about books or stories more in a more detailed sort of way, and I really liked it, and that is something that I would really like to try. So let me know if it's something that you would love, if that's something that you would like to see, and let's see if we can make that happen. So this is me, Ishita, signing off.